Have you ever found yourself pondering those really big questions? Like, what's the deal with, well, everything? Or why do we believe what we believe? How should I live my life? Does God or the supernatural exist? If so, congratulations. You've already dipped your toes into the world of philosophy. As Plato famously put it, philosophy begins with wonder. Now, if you're like a lot of people, maybe you haven't formally studied philosophy before stumbling on to a video like this, and that's perfectly okay. In this video, we'll explore several different ways philosophers have defined their field, contrast philosophy with other disciplines, and explore what makes philosophical thinking unique and why it continues to matter in everything from science to everyday decision making. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. First off, there's no single standard definition of philosophy. Philosophers love to discuss and debate everything, and that includes debating what philosophy itself even is. It's kind of our thing. When we try to define philosophy, it's helpful to look at how others have approached it. Philosopher Paul Party offers a particularly clear framework for understanding philosophy's scope in his short essay titled, "What is Philosophy?" Much of the exploration in this video builds on this, and I highly recommend checking out his full article if you want to explore these ideas further. Paul Party kicks off his article with his definition. Philosophy is the study of the fundamental structure of the universe. So there you go. We have a definition of philosophy. This video's now done. Well, that's certainly a definition centered around an area of philosophy we call metaphysics, but as Party himself discusses, it's not the only definition of philosophy. If we go back to its roots, the word philosophy comes from the Greek philosophia, which means the love of wisdom. So there's our definition of philosophy. Love of wisdom. Sounds pretty good, right? Wisdom here can mean good judgment, figuring out what makes for a good reason to believe something. And that's definitely a key aspect of philosophy. But there are many other ways we could define philosophy. So drawing from a range of philosophical thought, here are several other ways to define what philosophy is. You could define it as an activity, a quest after wisdom. Socrates described himself as one who knows what he does not know, always seeking greater understanding. Or we could define philosophy as a critical examination of arguments, concepts, and beliefs, and how they all relate. Perhaps it is best defined as a process of clarifying ideas using reason in the pursuit of truth. Ludwig Wittgenstein put it this way: the aim of philosophy is the logical clarification of thoughts. For him, philosophy wasn't a set of doctrines, but an activity of making our thinking and language clearer. Some define philosophy as the study of life, what it means to exist, and how we should live. This is where ethics comes in, a field of philosophy that I specialize in. Or perhaps we could define philosophy in the broadest way possible, as the study of the fundamental big questions of life and reality. This is by no means an exhaustive list of definitions of philosophy, but these definitions can help us see how philosophy encompasses major areas of study like ethics, metaphysics, epistemology, and logic, areas we'll explore more in future videos. Another way to help us understand what philosophy is to contrast it with what it is not. Paul Party does this by highlighting that today we see philosophy as distinct from fields like science, psychology, linguistics, and theology. Let's go over briefly why. Philosophy doesn't necessarily study the same things in the natural world with the same experimental methods as the sciences do. Party states, psychology helps humans to understand why things go wrong with our mental states and how to make them right again and what that means, while philosophy is concerned with understanding the structure of things like beliefs and moral behavior and sense experience. While philosophers debate the meaning of words, Party claims that philosophy isn't really about the structure of language in the same way that linguistics is. While theologians also tend to study many of the same questions, philosophy does so without the same religious presuppositions. Now, while it is true, as Paul Party points out, that today we consider philosophy as a separate discipline from the fields of science, theology, and so on, there is an important caveat to note here. At one time, all of these fields of study were considered philosophy. It's not even that long ago that this was the case. I once found this old intro to philosophy textbook from the early 1900s at a thrift store, and guess what? Psychology was listed as a branch of philosophy. Go back further, and all of the sciences were often called natural philosophy. When Isaac Newton wrote his Principia, he called it Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy. What we now call physics, biology, chemistry, and so on, all used to be considered as natural philosophy. Essentially, any academic discipline was considered a form of philosophy just a few hundred years ago. What tends to happen is this. Once philosophers start coming to firm, testable answers about a particular domain, it often splits off into a new discipline. So if philosophy spun off all those amazing fields, what is philosophy now? Here we'll go back to Paul Party, who highlights 4 important aspects of philosophy. First, as we just discussed, it's the foundation of all subjects. Historically, the founders of pretty much every academic discipline were philosophers. This is not only true of older disciplines like Aristotle being the father of biology, but also of more modern disciplines as well, such as computer science, which was founded on logic systems that philosophers have been developing for millennia. Here's something that might be surprising. That PhD degree, the highest degree you can get in most fields, the PH literally stands for philosophy. Whether getting a doctorate in chemistry or literature, you're officially becoming a doctor of philosophy. Some of these are called philosophy degrees simply because of the historical roots. But in many cases, PhD candidates are really questioning the foundations of their field, which is doing philosophy. This leads us to another important aspect of philosophy. It's a framework. Philosophy focuses on reason, argumentation, and rational discourse. It's not about giving you a list of answers to memorize. Instead, it gives you arguments and reasons to consider so you can explore them, evaluate them, and think for yourself. Thirdly, and this might surprise some, philosophy is practical. The stereotype is, old guys in armchairs pontificating. And sure, there are some fascinating logic puzzles and paradoxes in the discipline, but philosophy is practical because it helps us better understand ideas, all ideas. The same methods used to assess whether an argument, for example, proves the existence of God or not, are helpful in assessing everyday arguments as well. Philosophy can also help us think through fundamental questions about knowledge, reality, and value. This practical dimension is why philosophy remains relevant in fields from bioethics to artificial intelligence. And let's face it, humans live and die based on our ideas and concepts. What you believe and your values shape every decision you make. So a clearer understanding of those ideas can genuinely help us live better lives. And finally, philosophy is truth conducive. Even for those big questions that don't have settled answers yet, philosophy aims to get us closer to the truth. For instance, when philosophers debate free will versus determinism, even without a final answer, we gain clear understanding of concepts like responsibility, choice, and human agency. Philosophy helps us uncover facts about our ideas, how they relate, and where they might be contradictory. This brings me to something one of history's most famous philosophers said. Socrates declared, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Now, that might be a bit hyperbolic, but there's a real truth in it. Examining your beliefs, understanding good reasoning, and exploring these existential puzzles can profoundly improve your thinking and your life. Ultimately, a serious study of philosophy, if done well, should be life-changing and life-enriching. So now I want to turn it over to you. What is philosophy to you? Which of these definitions of philosophy resonates most strongly with your intuitions? What's a big philosophical question you found yourself thinking about? What are those fundamental mysteries that make you begin to wonder? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And now, a quick word from our sponsor, which is my own book. It's called Effective Altruism: An Introduction. It explores the core philosophy behind the effective altruism movement. If you'd like to support this channel, one of the best ways is by checking out the book and or sharing it with a friend who might be interested. It's available as a hardback, paperback, or ebook. You can find it on most online bookstores. I appreciate your support. Thanks for joining me on this first step into the world of philosophy. If you found this exploration valuable, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss our next investigation into life's big questions. Until next time, keep thinking.